What size zero-turn mower do you actually need? We're going to talk about that in this video. Hey everybody, it's Jason Creel and this is the Lawn Care Life. Today's video is sponsored by Yardbook. If you're in the lawn care business, you should consider Yardbook for your lawn care software. Go to yardbook.com. Let's talk about zero-turn mowers. This is a 60-inch Toro. This is what I'm using to cut my lawn with. I have owned a lot of zero-turn mowers, and I want to help you make a decision on which zero-turn mowers are a good fit for you. Talking about size and whether you're going to get one mower or maybe two different mowers, and we can talk about combinations of sizes. You really need to understand, if you already have an existing lawn care business, what are your clients that you have and which ones are you targeting. You may see an occasional chicken in the background, so just ignore that. Are you targeting yards that are a half acre to 1 acre, even up to 2 or 3 acre lots? Then you are going to probably want to get a 60-inch mower, maybe a 72-inch mower. And if that is the overwhelming majority of the lawns that you're targeting, to me, if you go to 2 mowers, then you probably just need 2 big mowers, 2 60 inches or 60 and a 72 or 2 72s, because on those large acreage properties, your time is going to be of the utmost, and that's pretty much true with anything, but a large mower is going to really save you a lot of time on a big property, where a bigger mower is not going to make that big of a difference on a small property. Let's say you're out there mowing yards that are 3,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet. You know, average neighborhood lawns. They just build these spec homes and they're just houses stacked in there together. In my opinion, in those situations, I'm going with a 48 or a 52-inch mower. Would a 60-inch mower be faster? Of course it would be faster, but I think what you're going to end up finding, a lot of people are going to have privacy fences where a 48-inch mower might fit through that back gate and a 60-inch will not. As a matter of fact, there's going to be very few of those gates where a 60-inch will fit. Also, again, like I mentioned before, a 60-inch mower is not going to save you that much time on a small property, because you're not really spending that much time mowing it anyway. There's not going to be very little difference, where if you're out there on some acreage going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, then speed and power and the size of the mower is going to make a much bigger difference. Now, would I get a 48-inch mower or a 52? Well, that would depend on the situation. If I was just going to have one mower, now we'll talk about combinations after this if you're going to have 2 mowers. When I say one mower, I'm talking about one zero-turn mower and maybe a push mower to get you started in the lawn care business, or maybe you're looking for your own property. If you're looking for your own property, to me, bigger's better. You know, you're not transporting it, and that's another thing to consider, is how many mowers can you fit on your trailer and what size can they be, which is one advantage of the stand-on mowers, because they're more compact unit than one that you traditionally sit on. Okay, so 48 or 52 inch. Well, if I had several larger properties, let's say it was 70% neighborhood homes and small commercial stuff, but I had 30% that were on the larger side, maybe 15,000 square foot lawns or a little bit larger stuff. Or the other consideration is I don't have many backyards I got to fit through a gate. Or the other factor on larger mowers is how flat are the properties. If you live in Kansas and it's very flat, then you have very little concern about scalping the property with a bigger lawn. Now, the scalping's not a huge factor to me. I found even the 60-inch mowers that, you know, if you know how to operate them, scalping is not a huge issue. But it is going to be more of a concern with the bigger mower, especially if you're dealing with hilly yards versus a flat yard. So if I had some large properties and not as many backyards to get through, then I might go with a 52-inch mower for my one mower. Okay, like I said, if you had pretty much all large, then go with a 60 or as big as you can get kind of thing, where it still makes practical sense. If you're primarily smaller properties and there are some backyards to get into where the 48 will fit, because there's going to be some where the 48 will fit and the 52 won't fit, and that makes a big difference, because if you just have one mower, again, I'm going with just the one mower situation, and you've got the mower and a push mower, then getting through that backyard, to me, is the difference in taking that person as a customer or not taking them as a customer. Because if it's a decent sized backyard, I'm not interested in pushing it. So in that situation, I might go with the 48-inch, because you're not really costing yourself much time on the bigger properties, and you don't really have that many bigger properties anyway. But you're saving yourself the pushing on those few yards that you can get the mower through the backyard, where a 52 might not be able to get through the backyard. So you may need a tape measure if you have an existing business. If you're starting a business or looking into getting into the lawn business, then you got to look at where your target market is. Are you going after neighborhood homes, or are they more, is it more out in the country a little bit with some bigger acreage lots? Then that's going to help you make those decisions. And in some areas, even where I live, like I said, lots of small lawns, but if you get just a little bit further out, you're going to start getting in these 10 to 15,000 square foot residential properties. Again, in those situations, you want the size, but if it's small neighborhood lawns, the 48 seems to be what I would go to. Now, let's talk about if you were going to combine multiple zero-turn mowers. In that situation, I'm probably going to want to get a big one, maybe a 60 or at least a 52, if I've got even 20% of my properties that are decent size. So you can go with a 60-inch and then a 48. Okay, so maybe the 48, you use it on those that you can need to get in the backyard or small properties, but you've got the 60 if you need it. If you got some big ones and some sure enough small ones, you might go with a 60 and a 36. Again, it's just, you got to understand your properties. If you got a decent amount of bagging work, or maybe you want to use this for leaf cleanup and things like that, you may get a 60 or 52 and then like a 42-inch Walker mower or Exmark Navigator, something like that, that you can do your leaf cleanups and your bagging with. That also can double down. That 42-inch mower can also be your one that you're going to get in the backyards with. You're like, well, that 42 will get through a lot of gates. The 36 get through just nearly any gate. And if they don't have a 36-inch gate, they need to get one. I mean, let's just be honest. So the main question to ask is, what type of properties are you going to be mowing, or targeting if you don't already have them? And then in that situation, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have two 48-inch mowers unless all your properties are pretty much the same and you just need two mowers for the people, and that's the ideal size. But if you've got some large mowers, and if you've got some large properties and some small ones, then when you go to two mowers, you can have that primary mower. Let's say you've got a lot of 10 to 15,000 square foot lawns, so let's get to 60, but I also got a lot of small neighborhood yards. Then I'm going to go with a 36, a 42, or 48, depending on the situation. Standing versus riding, that's going to depend on somewhat of personal preference, but also, again, how much space you have on your trailer. If it's a little bit more compact room, you may have to go with a couple of standers for the compactness of the design of the mower. They'll fit on the trailer. I mean, you might can get two standers on a 12-foot trailer where you wouldn't be able to potentially get two sit-down zero turns on there. Standers do have some other benefits, being able to hop on and off quicker. Some people think that they're more comfortable. Other people are going to prefer sitting. So again, it's just going to depend on the situation. If I was mowing small properties, I most likely want a stander where I could be on and off, on and off, on and off. Bigger properties, I mean, again, it's going to be personal preference. Some people say sitting down for long periods of time makes their back more sore than standing. Others want the comfort of sitting for 2 hours on that big yard as opposed to standing. So you probably need to try them out and see which one is your personal preference. Now, the standards operate a little bit different. The controls are usually, I mean, they basically function the same, but they're usually a little more sensitive, a little tighter controls. So you just bump it and it moves you right or left, you know, where I guess the sit down ones have a little more play in them, if you would. A little more forgiving on many of them as far as the handles and the way you operate it. You also want to consider, is there a dealer nearby? Am I going to be able to get parts to be able to get it worked on if something were to happen? You can go new if you like the warranty and things like that. You can also look for one with low hours that is used. Either of those options can work for you depending on the situation. I personally don't like buying a zero-turn mower with over 500 hours, but if you're more handy than I am, don't mind a repair every now and then you may, or have a lower budget, then you may want to get one with higher hours. I would rather get an older mower personally that had low hours than a newer mower that had high hours. That's my personal opinion on that. What you don't want to do, in my opinion, is go out and buy a mower for just a few customers. You know, if you say, I've only got, I'm including that even for a push mower. I don't want to go buy a $300 residential push mower just to push mow 2 yards. I'd rather not have those 2 yards and decline them than have to keep up with one extra piece of equipment. So I want to make sure that whatever mower I have is getting used and I'm getting that return on investment, okay? So if I've got, you know, 4 yards that need bagged, I don't want to go buy a $12,000 bagging mower to bag 4 yards. It just doesn't make sense to me from a business standpoint. So I remember when I first started, the first zero-turn mower I ever had, I believe it was a 2003 Hustler Mini Z 44-inch with a 19 horsepower Kawasaki. I love that mower, and one of the great things about it was I made a lot of money with it because it was my only mower. It fit through all kind of gates. It was just great, and I got my money's worth out of it. I ended up, I think, foolishly had a little oil leak. I didn't check the oil, and I blew up the engine one time and ended up getting rid of the mower. But that was my own mistake. But it was a great mower, and what I'm talking about is I don't want a mower sitting on the trailer that's getting used very little. Doesn't make sense to me at all. I'd rather just have one mower and maybe some backup that's a cheaper mower in case I just got in a bind, or maybe you have a friend that you could borrow one from if you got in a bind. But to me, it just makes no sense to have one that just sits around and collects dust. Leave your comments, questions below. Appreciate you watching the video. If you've got, if you think about getting in the lawn business with mowing, weed control, and fertilization, a lot of resources over at lawncarelife.com. I've got video courses and documents available to help you out in that. I'm Jason Creel. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't done so, and we'll catch you on the next video. Talk to you later.